Well, hello and welcome to another week's edition of our sponsor spotlights. We're super excited to have Lisa Obergatzberger with us today from Excel Physical Therapy. They have been working with us as our athletic trainer for several years. Lisa, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me here.
You're welcome. Will you just start out kind of by telling everybody a little bit about yourself and then about Excel Physical Therapy and kind of what you do there?
Sure. Well, I'm from this area, born and raised in Bellingham, and I actually grew up at Joe Martin. I feel like before it was Joe Martin Stadium. My dad used to play baseball for Joe Martin, and then went on to coach for several years at Seaholm High School. So when Gary Hatch first became coach there, he contacted us about the opportunity, and we jumped at the chance for that. So Excel Physical Therapy, we opened in 2005. My husband and I had been working in the area for a number of years, and it was his big idea to branch out on our own and open our own clinic. So we did that in North Bellingham off of Northwest. And then in 2016, we were able to open a satellite clinic in Ferndale.
Very cool. So tell us a little bit about, I know people kind of know when they hear physical therapy, they kind of have this, post-surgery idea, or if you break your ankle, or, some of the common uses. But what are some of the things that Excel does and offers at your clinic for your patients?
That's a really great question. And yeah, I agree with you that it's really obvious when you've had an injury or a surgery that you would come to physical therapy. I think one of the probably the more subtle things that we do work with a lot of people who have chronic back and neck, whether it's from injuries or just because they sit at a desk all day for work. They're not feeling good after getting out and doing yard work, those types of things. We see people who have balance issues, and we do for anybody that comes in, regardless of their diagnosis. We do a really complete evaluation, which looks at not only what they're having trouble with, but where other impairments may come from, like compensation patterns, things that are too tight in the muscles or joints, weaknesses, posture. And then I feel even more important, we look at how they move. So not just assessing like your elbow movement, but what does it look like when you're writing or keyboarding or throwing a baseball, those types of things, so that we can really get to the nitty gritty about what the problem is and help that individual with their individual problem, instead of just here's a packet of exercises, here's some strengthening, here's some stretching, and there you go.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting. I think every time I've done physical therapy, it's always interesting where I'm like, why are we doing this exercise? Like I heard, why are we exercising hips? It's so interesting, all of the ways that you guys find to, bring the best out of the body. So that's super interesting. Well, obviously these are different times.
Yes.
COVID-19, everyone's adapting, everyone's doing business a little bit differently. Physical therapy, is an essential service, and you've got folks who probably, still maintain or wanting to maintain certain levels of things, or have needs that need to be attended to now, and not necessarily when we are allowed to kind of go back into the community. So what are some of the ways you guys are adapting to help your patients?
So our offices are quite small, so there's not very many people in there at any given time, and that was one of the things we felt was really important as far as keeping our doors open. Through the beginning weeks and months that this was going on, we really reached out to our patients to find out, how are you feeling about this? What is your comfort level with doing some things at home, and maybe having just like a video conference recheck, update on things, versus several patients that we had who were post-op that felt like, there's no way I can just talk to you over the phone and figure out what I need to do. Like, I really feel like I need to come in and have you look at this and help me through this. So between that and then having some very candid conversations with local doctors of, what would this look like, what would need to happen for you to feel comfortable referring somebody to us, and so forth. We really made our decisions based on that information, and then have just upgraded everything else that we might do cleanliness wise, sanitation wise. We were always cleaning after each patient, and so forth. So I can, definitely say that now just even the common space is, after everybody leaves, everything gets wiped down. We're wearing masks. Most people coming in are choosing to wear masks as well. And I think it really helps us stay on time to make sure people aren't getting backed up in the waiting area and things like that. So we're, just trying to be mindful of all those smaller situations that weren't necessarily that big of a deal before.
Right. Yeah, life has changed. That is for sure. It sounds like you guys are doing the best you can, adapting. So you mentioned earlier that you have, within the last 5 years, you guys opened your second location, which is up north. And so you now have 2 locations in North Bellingham and then one in Ferndale. How has that kind of changed your business and maybe allowed you to, serve your customers better?
We were really excited to be able to open that space. One of the biggest reasons I would say is my husband Mike is an athletic trainer, and in the early stages of our business, he was doing a tremendous amount of outreach. He was working with kids from Lummi High School, Ferndale High School. He has a very close relationship with Tom Dimmel, who's the athletic trainer out there and also helps us cover the Bells games. We just felt like, we were living in this North community. And so there were so many people that were like, oh, I really wish I could come to your clinic, but, driving all the way in my son can't do that on his own, or we don't have time for that. So it's really enabled us to just offer easier access to the clinic. And I think that's what the most feedback I get is that people are just really glad they don't have to travel the extra 10, 15, 20 minutes to get to our clinic.
Yeah, no, that's great. So, well, and like you mentioned, and like I mentioned at the beginning, we've worked together for, gosh, I think it's the last 9 seasons.
It's been a while.
It's been a while, and had the pleasure of working with you and your husband Mike and Tom and Katie and so many others over the years who've taken really good care of our guys. One of the neat things that you guys are able to do for us is be on site at our clubhouse, kind of bring your talents to us and be on site at our clubhouse, everything from, taping to in-game care, but then also able to see some of our guys at your clinics.
Right.
When it's needed and help guys out. It feels like during the sprint of our season, often if somebody needs something, it's usually like right now or yesterday that they need.
Exactly. Yeah.
Good to be seen. So it's been really great working with you guys. And I know that you do work with like some other athletic organizations and in the community in some ways. So tell us about some of the other things that you do kind of within the community.
Sure. Well, for a number of years, we were involved with the local soccer programs and out at the Northwest soccer fields for all the tournaments that they've held. We kind of transitioned from that a few years ago into rugby, which we weren't really anticipating, but my son started playing and fell in love. And so we were going to more and more matches. And they didn't have the same type of coverage like the Bells have, for instance. And so we found ourselves taking our kits and just kind of being on hand. And they were like, hey, what would you think about? So we were like, well, maybe we can go in that direction. We're at the games anyway. And they've been very gracious. They asked me to their board of directors for medical consulting. So I've been doing that the last couple of years. And then we also continue to work with Tom Dimmel at Ferndale High School. So they have a program, it's under a category called CTE, which is like career technology, their vocational program. So we're on their advisory board, and get to really keep in touch with what Tom's doing, classes he's adding. If they, have kids that want to do volunteer work, then we try to incorporate them into the clinic so they can come out and see what goes on. Obviously, we're not doing that right now with extra people in the clinic, but yeah, we get a lot of phone calls for people seeking, coverage of things, and so we just do our best to either be there for them or guide them to maybe somebody else closer that can help them out.
That's, and I know that's something that you guys have definitely invested some of your time in is helping students. And over the years, we've had some students and stuff help out with the Bells. It always amazes me how many phone calls I get from students who are just looking to get athletic training experience and
yes,
don't know that we're outsourcing it, but it's definitely a field where a lot of folks are just want to get in and kind of see how it's done. So that's
yes.
pretty cool that you guys are able to offer, obviously in normal times, able to offer some of those opportunities. So very cool. Well, Lisa, is there anything else that you think that the fans should know about Excel?
We love being out in the community. We love helping people. If you have any questions of, is this something that you could help me with, or should I be doing this? We're always open to communication and helping guide people through the medical system, determine what's best for them. So just know that we're open and we're here to help.
That's great. Well, thank you. And thank you for everything that you've done for us over the years and for spending some time with us today. We appreciate it.
That's great. Thank you so much, Stephanie.